I guess, Mike, you brought up an interesting point, and we just said too, as well, Grant, is time. You said short term, it's going to we hear that all the time, and to be fair, we've heard that for the last 4 years, right? I've heard it so many times, the dollar's going to crash, it's going to be horrible, gold's going to go higher. When you say short term, it seems like, is it almost like a hedge? Is it saying, I could be wrong, I don't know when this is going to happen, and nobody knows when it's going to happen? Because you can go into more detail of, and someone who studies economic cycles, when? I'm not talking about the date, but actually in terms of years, because it seems like when I hear this argument the most, a lot of people were selling the dollar over the last 4 years. We're seeing the dollar go higher. When do you think things are going to get much worse? Is it simply with the Fed raising rates? When does the you-know-what hit the fan?
So you want some predictions.
I think they
whenever
want predictions
you can either predict that something's going to hit a certain price, or you can predict when it's going to happen. But when you predict that it's going to do this on that date, you're always wrong. So
don't take the bait, Mike. Don't take the bait.
What?
Don't take the bait.
Yeah, it's true.
Well,
I get that question a lot too. Yeah, you're right. But
and by the way, I've been hearing that the dollar's going to crash pretty much forever. I mean, people have said that since it became a fiat currency. But there are cycles to these things, and yes, it's a little bit larger and drawn out. If you look at a picture of the markets or anything else, it sort of looks like this giant picture of the 20s or something, where it's very stretched out. I think that I have said many, many times that there will be a currency crisis, and there's going to be another major crash before the end of this decade. And I believe that there'll probably still be a dollar, but it'll be a different dollar, just like it was a different dollar after World War I than before World War I. It was a different dollar after Bretton Woods, after World War II, than it was before. And it was a different dollar after Nixon took us off of gold in '71 than it was before. These are entirely different monetary systems. The whole structure of the monetary system has changed each time to where, at first countries were all fully backed by gold, with the Bank of England being the clearinghouse. And then you had a mixture of British consols and U.S. bonds and gold being the backing of currencies. And the clearinghouse in the intra-war gold standard was both the New York Fed and the Bank of England. And then after Bretton Woods, every country on the planet was backing its currency with U.S. dollars or U.S. treasuries. And the dollar was the currency that was backed by gold, and it was redeemable at the New York Fed. And then no gold, just dollars. And so it's all backed by the promise to tax us in the future. It's backed by future debt. We sell when the Fed buys a treasury bond, it creates dollars, and so we have to work in the future to pay off that bond. So these are very, very different systems. Every 30 to 40 years, there's a new world monetary system, and we're now 44 years into this monetary system. It's overdue, basically, for a change. And history will just repeat, and there will be some emergency meeting to hash out a new world monetary system and I believe a lot of what Jim Rickards says also, that there's going to be some real chaos during this period. And I think it's going to happen before the end of this decade, and so I'm putting a time on it. It feels like the markets have topped, and if you look at the last couple of crashes, it took a year and a half or 2 years for them to roll over and bottom. So, we might see things going flat in 2016, and then 2017 and 18 a real plunge. Who knows? I don't know. But what I do know is that every 2 to 9 years there has been a recession in this country, and that there is no exception to that. There's never been an expansion longer than 9 years. We're 7 years into this expansion. We're due for a recession. The Fed is out of bullets with all of the currency creation they did and the zero interest rates. There is nothing they can do this time except create massive quantities of currency.
Just for the point of clarity, when you say the end of the decade, do you mean the end of 2019 or the end of 2020? I just want to be clear on that.
Thank you very much. I hadn't thought of that. You just gave me an extra year.
It would be an impossibility that this is a coincidence. The only reason the stock market is up is because of this gift to Wall Street that Ben Bernanke created. The coming charts here they should scare the hell out of anybody that is not a precious metals investor. We are in the Bernanke bubble, and it's going to be followed by the Bernanke bust, and Janet Yellen is left to do the cleanup work after this bust is over.